So, welcome to Monday Motivation. Today, we're going to talk about overcoming overthinking, getting out of your head and into your life. So, have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop, or what if, or why didn't I? Always second guessing yourself. So today I want to share good news that overcoming overthinking to find peace definitely is possible. My name is Terry Stirk. If we haven't previously met, I'm excited to meet you. I am a 2-time survivor of triple negative breast cancer. And so now I live my purpose. I serve women who have dealt with trauma, including breast cancer, family discord, and grief, to name a few. I have experience with all of those things, so I can help in any way you need me. If you've ever stayed up late replaying a conversation or second guessing a decision that you've made, or maybe delaying action on something you really need to do, even urgent things, because you're just not sure of what to do or what's right, you're definitely not alone. We all deal with overthinking at some point. In my book, Nurture Emotional Well-Being for Women, I describe overthinking as a mental spiral that feels like you're doing something productive, but you're actually not. You're thinking so much and working so hard, but really it's more like you're just running in place because you're just overthinking and not really accomplishing much. You're draining energy, but not moving forward. Overthinking keeps many women stuck right where we are. Maybe it's replaying a conversation over and over, analyzing every word you said in a conversation, or worrying endlessly about a decision you've yet to make. Overthinking is something many of us struggle with. It can feel like a storm raging in your mind, and it leaves you exhausted and paralyzed and even interrupts your sleep. But here's the good news. Peace is definitely possible. Even when your mind feels chaotic, there are things we can do to shut that down. So today we'll discuss overcoming overthinking and finding the calm that we all crave. So first of all, let's explore why. Why do we overthink? If we get honest about why we do this, overthinking often comes from a good place. We want to make the very best decision. We want to avoid mistakes, or we're looking to protect ourselves or others. But when the need to get it just right turns into analysis paralysis, it ends up being a burden instead of a good thing. At its core, overthinking often comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of the unknown. This I can deal with. I've certainly learned about it myself. It describes me for sure. I had the healing issues during my reconstructive surgery, and my mind was in overdrive. I was worried that the healing would never work out, and I had done all this work for nothing. But it's our mind's way of trying to control a situation that was out of control. I couldn't control the healing. I had to give my body time and give the doctors time to figure it out. The problem is, overthinking doesn't solve the problem. It just creates more anxiety, more uncertainty. So think about it. How many times has replaying a mistake in your head made it any better? Probably never. Or how often has imagining a worst case scenario actually prepared you for the future? Chances are that worst case never happened. Trying to think our way to the perfect solution often causes that extreme anxiety. As I wrote in the book, our minds crave certainty, but our lives are built on faith, not guarantees. We can't predict the future. We can only make decisions based on what we know at this moment. So how does overthinking affect our well-being? Well, first of all, it impacts our decision making and it drains our emotional energy. It keeps us in our heads instead of connected to our hearts. It disconnects us from the present moment. We're constantly worried about the future, about something that we have to think about, but we just roll it around in our head so many times, we never get to the decision. Or it just makes us wait way too long. It can even manifest physically with tense shoulders or headaches and a racing heart. Over time, it can chip away at our confidence. We start to doubt our ability to handle what comes next, and we avoid making decisions altogether. There are ways to interrupt that pattern, the overthinking pattern, and to find comfort and calmness and just shut down that overthinking. So let's talk about a few strategies that have helped me and other women that I work with. Number one is pause and breathe. When we notice that our mind is spiraling, we can stop and say, wait a minute, and recognize what's happening. Take a deep breath. This is a simple way to interrupt the cycle and bring you back to a conscious mind. It brings you back to the moment. And then you can reflect and say, all right, here's what I need to do. And then set yourself on a straight and narrow path. Second is to name the fear. What am I terrified of? Why is this such a difficult decision? Why is my mind just going in circles? Often naming the fear out loud takes away its power. Sometimes we might not even recognize it as fear. But if you can take the time to ask yourself, what am I terrified of? Or what am I afraid of? Then you can figure out that even the worst case scenario of your decision isn't even in the cards. You know, you don't need to be afraid. You can't control most things in our lives anyway. Third, decide what matters most. Maybe you don't have all the answers to make a complete and thorough decision. You just need to know what you value and what's important with the decisions that you, or with the information that you have at the time. In my book, I call this anchoring your decision in your truth. What aligns with your purpose, your peace, and your priorities. That's what matters. Another strategy is to set a timer. Give yourself a reasonable deadline. Tell yourself, I'll give this 24 hours of thought and then I'll make a decision. Setting a boundary like this helps you break the loop of overthinking. It gives you an end date or an end time when a decision will be made. It's true that sometimes you need time to think things through and to process. But set a timer. Give yourself an end time. Fifth, take the next right step. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take one step at a time. Clarity comes from action. So if you take action, even one small step, that helps you to have a clearer view of what you need to do. I have an example of this. The second time I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my doctors were recommending a lumpectomy. Well, I had had a lumpectomy the first time, so I knew all about that. I said, let's do a lumpectomy, but I may be coming back for a double mastectomy. So that's what we did. We did the lumpectomy, and it gave me time to process and research and think about, do I want a double mastectomy? And I ended up doing that. But I didn't feel rushed to overthink that decision quickly. I gave myself time and then came to the right decision for me. A sixth strategy is to practice self-trust. Remind yourself, even if this doesn't go perfectly as planned, I can handle it. I've come this far and I'll continue to move forward. Confidence is built in your actions and your positive thinking, and it helps prevent overthinking. Overthinking can feel safe, but it often holds us back from the life we want. We're so busy wasting energy on overthinking decisions. You deserve peace, forward momentum, and the ability to trust yourself and your decisions. If this resonates with you, I invite you to reflect. So pull out your journal or just a sheet of paper and respond to 2 questions. You don't have to write these down now. I'll put them in the comments after this video. But the questions are, what decisions are you overthinking right now? Surely there is a couple. I know I can think of a couple myself. What's the next small step you can take with courage, but not certainty? Again, I will put these 2 questions under the video. But I encourage you to take some time to reflect and write the answers to these questions, and it will help you understand your own overthinking and how you can stop it. So let me know in the comments or with a direct message how you're doing. I'd love to hear what you're going through if you have a decision you need help making. Sometimes another person can give you some insight, and I hope listening to this video, you've learned something too. And remember this, from Nurture Emotional Wellbeing for Women, peace isn't found in perfect decisions. It's found in knowing you showed up with honesty and heart. You've got this, ladies. I know you do. Thank you for joining me today for Monday Motivation. I'm cheering you on. Have a great day.